Hello everyone, I'm Linda from Purple Rose Digital, and today I'm going to show you how to make this very easy journal with pockets in a French country theme. So for this journal you don't have to sew anything, but you can if you want to print stuff on the back of these pages. You can absolutely sew them together. So I'm going to show you the way without that, just by gluing the pages together. So I'm just going to get the order of my pages that I want to put them in and make sure all of them are upright as well. And then once I've done that, I will start folding them all in half with the print on the inside. So we'll have blanks on the outside, and the blank sides we're going to glue together. So once I've got my order, I'll start folding them. Okay, I think that's what I'm going to go with. So you will also notice I've already cut them out. They're not full pages, and even if you print a full page on normal printers, they normally have a white edge that you have to cut off anyways. So these are a bit smaller, but I've already cut all of them out. So I'm just gonna fold them in half and flatten that fold. And please don't laugh, I actually just grabbed this little tool that was lying around that you used to put shoes on with, and it actually works so well to flatten your folds. So if you don't have a bone folder, that's actually a very nice option because it's got a rounded edge, so it doesn't damage your paper at all. Okay, so I'm just going to continue folding all of these pages in half, and then I will start gluing them back to back. Okay, so while I'm doing this, you can use any kind of glue that you prefer. I started out with some wet glue, but I didn't like that. I was just trying it out, and then I switched over to my normal glue stick. So whatever you prefer and you normally work with, you can use that. So I'll start with this last page, and I'm going to glue the second last page onto the back of this last page. So just forming a book. So this is really easy, and just make sure you align the spine sides towards each other, and make sure that you align it as good as possible, because that will just give you a neater journal, especially if you can get the spine side aligned properly. That will really help. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start. I'm just gonna speed up the video. So you'll see I started with the wet glue, and it was just way too wet. I don't know if maybe I just put too much, but it does say on the container that it is for paper, but it actually ended up even discoloring my images. So I just went over after the second page with that to my normal glue stick, and that works just fine. So make sure you align it properly. Make sure you don't get any glue anywhere that it's not supposed to be, otherwise you're going to have your pages sticking together. And just make sure that you get your glue all the way to the edges as well. You don't want your pages coming loose, and as you page through your journal, you don't want to see them split open where they are glued back to back. So just make sure you also flatten everything nicely once you've glued it on, and just continue to do all of the pages back to back. And remember to make sure they are upright so that you don't glue it on in the wrong way and then have to end up redoing your journal, or pulling that apart. So just check every time before you you glue that on. Okay, so when we are done doing all of the pages, we are first going to glue on our string for closure. So this is the second last page. So if you don't want to use a ribbon or string to close your journal, you can skip this part. But if you do want to use some string and you want it to be tucked underneath your covers, then you need to follow along and just glue your ribbon or string on before you do the covers of the journal. So this is the last page. And before I'm gonna carry on, I'm just gonna have a flip through and just see how everything looks. So if you do have any white edges sticking out, I've got quite a few, you can trim those off, and of course you can go around with distress ink and just cover those white edges. You can do your distress ink beforehand as well, or you can do that afterwards. I'm still trying to fix some of this wet glue that messed up everything on the first two pages. So there you'll see that's the whole journal, all the pages, 12 pages, and now we can carry on to the next part. I'll just quickly show you. This is the covers. So we're going to do a front and a back, and we've got a spine cover that we're also going to glue over the spine, so that that is all hidden and covered. Ignore the back. I just printed on, I had to reprint and I didn't want to waste a whole cardstock sheet, so I just printed on one that was already printed, so yours will be blank. Okay, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to use. The red looked nice, but this ribbon was very stiff, so I ended up with just using some strings. So I've joined 3 pieces of string together. I don't have a huge stash of ribbons and lace and stuff yet, so this is the best I could find that matches this journal, and I decided to join 3 pieces together just to make it a bit more interesting. And what you want to do is you want to place it in the center, going around the journal, and you can just hold it in place with some clear tape so that it doesn't move around when we're gluing on the cover. Okay, so I've got the strings in place, and now I've got the spine part here, and what you're going to do is you're going to roughly bend it around your journal. You don't want to fold it with a straight fold. I guess you can if you want, but it might look a bit strange. So just roughly bend that piece of spine covering and place it around the journal and glue that in place. So you don't have to put your glue at the middle part of the spine where the pages are folded. You just want to place your glue on the front and back part of that little spine cover. So I'm just checking here that it's aligned properly, and you can leave a bit of space between your pages and your spine cover, so there's a bit of room for movement, but you don't have to. You can put it as tight as possible and then just glue it on nice and flat onto the front and back. So make sure as well that it's nice and flat around your piece of string, where it's going over your piece of string as well. So now we can do the covers, the front and the back. They should fit nicely on there, and just make sure you align it towards the front of the journal and not towards the back, towards the spine, but align it towards the front. Again, excuse my artwork here on the back. Yours will be blank. And make sure you get your glue right up to all the edges, because you definitely don't want your cover to be coming off anywhere. Okay, so make sure that's nice and flat, glued on as good as it can be, and then we can move on to the back of the journal and glue on our back cover. And again, yours will be blank. And same with this, make sure you get your glue to the edges and make sure you glue it on nice and flat and aligned towards the opening of your journal. Then it should be completely fine and aligned nicely. So as you can see, I'm just gonna go around all the edges. You can do it beforehand. As I said, you can ink your edges beforehand before you glue everything together, but you might have to redo some parts. So I'm just going to go around carefully and ink all the edges, and this is completely optional as well. It does really make everything pop and stand out really nicely, and it gives it that aged, distressed look, and it really does put your work on a different level. If you can get some, it really does make a big difference. So that's that done, and now I'm gonna start doing the pockets. I've given you a bunch of pockets. These are some of the horizontal ones, vertical ones. So I'm just going to play around, and I've sort of picked out some that I think I'm going to use, but I'm just going to play around and see where I want to put my pockets, and it's completely up to you how you want to do this, and you can use as many or as few as you like and put them any way that you want. This is the fun part, so just go with your gut and how you feel creatively to do it. So this is just my ideas, but you can completely do your own thing. Okay, so there's one vertical pocket in. I've also given you these paper scrap or scripture scraps, and what I like to do with them is sort of tear them off so that the edge is not straight cut but a bit more rough. But you can use them however you wish, and you can use them as decoration in the journal or on the cards and tags, and there are quite a few. I like to actually use my little screwdriver that I use for scoring to just distress the edges a bit. So I'm gonna do that, but you can use your preferred method if you want to distress your edges and just make it a bit more softer the edges, and you can also ink them if you wish. So I'm using this one as a little tuck band to tuck some ephemera and cards and things in. So you can use these scraps as bands as well. Now I'm just going to carry on doing more pockets and playing around, seeing where I want to place them. And of course you can leave some pages blank. You don't have to do a pocket on every page. You can leave some space for other types of decorating or writing in your journal. Of course, if you're giving this as a gift, you can leave a lot of space for the the receiver to do their own journaling or decorating maybe. So that's completely up to you. So I'm going to do another band here, a horizontal one. So I'm just going to cut out a few of these and see which one I like. I think I'll go with the lighter one. There you have it. So that's a nice tuck spot there. On this page I'm also going to do one of these scraps, but I'm going to do a little flap for it in the middle. So I'm going to do a tuck spot and a flap just to make it interesting, and then I'll put some fuzzy cuts onto that flap later on, so that will give a nice interesting touch there. Again, it's up to you. You can do whatever you feel like doing. Okay, so I've got a bunch of fussy cuts and things already cut out and some labels. So now I'm going to start the other fun part, and that's to decorate some more and just add elements wherever I feel like it's needed. I'm just going to put that out of the way a bit. Sorry for the lighting. I forgot to switch off the headlight, the room light. So on this little flap, I'm going to do a round fussy cut and a teacup. I think that looks quite cute. I forgot to do the inking of the back of the flap. Oh, there you go. So I'll move on to some more decoration, and I'll just play around and see whatever I want to do. You're welcome to stop the video here. Be sure to check out my Etsy store for more beautiful items to make, or you're welcome to watch along as I decorate the rest of the journal. And I'll also be decorating the front of the journal just with a label. So you're welcome to watch to see and get some ideas if you want to. So you'll see I've also given you a bunch of word strips. I'll be using some of them as well. So, and of course a bunch of labels. So you can really mix and match them and just create whatever you feel like doing. So I think for this one I'm going to use a word strip and a scripture scrap, and just see what I can do with those two. Here I'm going to put a circular fussy cut and maybe some bread. Of course you can add your own decorations that you already have, ribbons, lace, any sort of interesting paper. So for this I'm going to do a scrap again with the label notes. And I'm just distressing these edges again, inking, and I'm going to combine these, and I think I'll place them diagonally. I think that will look nice with that diagonal corner there. So I think I'm going to do another scripture scrap with this bow, and I think it just really looks so nice with this shabby chic theme, French country, and it really does add that sort of worn and vintage look if you use these kinds of scrappy looking papers and things. Okay, some nice round fussy cuts. This one's got a hen with the chicks, the country life. There's also some small fussy cuts. I think I'll use some of these And again, you can use any of these to decorate your cards and tags as well, which I haven't really done today, but you're welcome to do that as well. And I'm just deciding what I want to do here. I think I'll use one of those small fussy cuts. Okay, so I'll just finish some page decorations, and then I will end up by doing the front cover, adding a label to the front cover. I'm just going to add another element to this last page. That looks better. So I'll do the front cover now, and I'm just going to add a label. I'm not going to do too much, and this is optional, of course. And I'm going to use some sponge tape to give it a bit of depth, so it's like that spongy double-sided tape. I think that looks good. Now I'm going to decorate some tags and things and just make it a bit more interesting, and then I'll tuck them into the pockets and the tuck spots. I'm just going to tie a few things together for this little bundle, like a little souvenir tag bundle, and that looks really great. And I'll tuck that into my first page. So I'll just continue tucking things in wherever it looks nice to me. You can do your own thing here, use as many of the tags and cards or as few as you like. You can tuck in your own cards and ephemera and letters, notes, whatever you have that you want to put into this journal, and make it your own as much as you like. And now I'm just gonna see what I want to put in. I might leave a few of them unused. There we go. That's done. I'm gonna have a quick flip through for you, and I'll tie it up, and that's that. Thanks for watching, and visit my Etsy store for more items to make.